It is a big milestone in the Boston Marathon bombing trial. The prosecution has rested its case. Now the defense will take its turn as this trial is moving along much faster than anticipated.
The prosecution had a big case, but in just 15 days of testimony, they presented 92 witnesses and thousands of exhibits. One of the last, a chilling picture. The Richard family standing along Boylston Street watching the marathon, and just a few feet away from them, behind a tree, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Jim Armstrong is live at the courthouse for us with the latest tonight. Jim?
Paula, just an exceptionally difficult day for a lot of people serving on this jury. They finished this morning a process they began on Thursday, looking at each of the autopsy photos from the 3 people who were killed at the marathon finish line. A marathon spectator snapped this image with a cell phone, never realizing they captured Dzhokhar Tsarnaev half hidden behind a tree, just inches behind 8-year-old Martin Richard, the very spot where prosecutors say Tsarnaev left his bomb. Today, to end their case, prosecutors showed jurors this photo before the testimony of the medical examiner who performed Richard's autopsy. Several jurors wept openly as Dr. Henry Niels held up the blood-soaked, torn, and burned clothing the little boy was wearing on Marathon Monday. 2 T-shirts, one Celtics, the other Patriots, worn by a young man who clearly loved his hometown. Dr. Niels explained how Richard's body was ripped open by the bomb blast, nearly every part of him savaged by shrapnel. His pants melted beyond recognition. Jurors actually saw a few angles of this moment, an FBI photo expert testifying exactly where Tsarnaev was standing and where they say he placed his bomb, right behind the Richard family and not far from Boston University grad student Lingzi Liu. Another medical examiner detailed Liu's excruciating death, terrible injuries, and incredible blood loss as tearful jurors again looked on. The government rested its case just after noon, and the defense started right up, bringing in their own digital evidence expert. The government had claimed Tsarnaev went to the marathon in 2012 with his friend Stefan Silva, but the defense used Tsarnaev's tweets from that day to show he was actually on campus at UMass Dartmouth. However, under cross-examination, the defense's own witness admitted he could be wrong, and yes, Tsarnaev actually could have been at the marathon the year before the bombings as well. Also last week, you might remember that the prosecution presented GPS evidence that it said linked the brothers' car to the Square One Mall in Saugus at the time the 2 pressure cookers were purchased, and to a couple of locations up in New Hampshire when BBs were purchased at Walmarts up there. The defense honed right in on that this afternoon with its own expert witness who said that GPS may well tell one story, but they used Dzhokhar's own cell phone to say that while the GPS was in Saugus in New Hampshire, Dzhokhar apparently never left the UMass Dartmouth campus, strongly suggesting, in the eyes of the defense at least, that it was Tamerlan Tsarnaev who was making those other purchases and leading the way planning the Boston Marathon bombing. Testimony continues tomorrow morning. Live outside federal court, Jim Armstrong, WBZ News. Paula.
Jim, thanks so much. And you can follow Jim on Twitter at Jim Armstrong WBZ to get constant updates from inside the courtroom as the defense presents its case and we get closer to deliberations.